¿Sabía del programa de nutrición en mercados agrícolas para adultos mayores? Puede recibir una tarjeta de beneficios con $80 para comprar más de su comida favorita. Así es como funciona. Cuando esté por pagar, el vendedor usará su tarjeta para escanear el código QR. Luego, ingrese su PIN para completar la compra. Para mercados participantes, contactos locales, recetas y más, visite seniorfmnp.com.
Most water around here ends up in Puget Sound. And whatever's in that water, like millions of gallons of oil. So let's get together and help save the sound. Because Puget Sound starts here.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Tuesday, September 24th meeting of the Pierce County Council. The time is 3:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Campbell.
Here.
Councilmember Krueger.
Here.
Councilmember Denson.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Here.
Councilmember Morrell.
Here.
Councilmember Mello.
Here.
You have 7 members present.
We have all 7 members present and a quorum. Item number 3 is our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, our moment of silence, and our land acknowledgement. September 20th, 2024 was National Prisoner of War and Missing in Action Recognition Day. Today's moment of silence is in honor of those who were prisoners of war and those who remain missing in action. We're grateful for the commitment and the monumental sacrifices made by those who were imprisoned or who remain missing. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by Vice Chair Campbell, followed by a moment of silence dedicated to National POW MIA Recognition Day, and then the land acknowledgement read by Vice Chair Campbell. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chair. For our land acknowledgement, we acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Coast Salish tribes. Coast Salish people have lived on and stewarded these lands since time immemorial and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step towards true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the indigenous people of this land.
Thank you, Vice Chair Campbell. Item number 4 is approval of our agenda. Are there any objections to approving today's agenda as presented? Seeing no objection, the agenda is approved. On today's council agenda, there will be multiple opportunities for public comment. On the consent agenda, you may provide comment on any final action item. This does not include items placed on the consent agenda simply for introduction and scheduling. On today's consent agenda, there are 2 sets of minutes for approval, 1 appointment resolution, and the approval of a recognition. Those are all subject to public comment. And during sections 8 and 9 of the agenda, we will take public comment on each ordinance and resolution individually. And finally, under community forum, there will be an opportunity to address the council on any topic that is not up for final action on today's agenda. For information on the rules for public participation, please review the bottom of page 1 of today's agenda. That brings us to section 5, the consent agenda. Does any member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? Vice Chair Campbell for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I was just verifying. I would like to move item C2A to section 8 and adopt the consent agenda as amended.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt the consent agenda with the exception of moving item C2A to section 8 resolutions under our agenda. Any other requests on the consent agenda? Not seeing any. This is a public hearing on the remaining final action items on our consent agenda. Any member of the public wish to provide comment on the consent agenda? We'll start here in council chambers. If anyone wishes to make comment, not seeing anyone come to the podium. Mr. Dominique, anybody in the Zoom room?
For any member of the public that would like to provide comment on today's consent agenda, please press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. We have no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on the consent agenda?
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morel.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda is adopted. Section 6 is messages from the executive and other county elected officials. There are none today. That brings us to Section 7, proclamations, recognitions, awards, and presentations. Today, the Pierce County Council proclaims September 2024 as Service Dog Awareness Month here in Pierce County, Washington. I'd like to invite our really special guests, Eric, Jenny, and Katie Moffitt to the podium as Councilmember Morel reads this proclamation into the record. Councilmember Morel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have before us a proclamation of the Pierce County Council proclaiming September 24th, 2024 as Service Dog Awareness Month in Pierce County, Washington, whereas service dogs play an integral role in enhancing the quality of life for individuals with disability and medical conditions. And whereas these remarkable animals are specially trained to perform a wide range of tasks that help mitigate the limitations faced by people with disabilities, including assisting with mobility, providing alert and medical response, aiding with emotional support, and promoting a greater sense of independence. And whereas service dogs are trained to navigate public spaces, ensure safe passage for their handlers, and are highly skilled at remaining focused and calm in busy and sometimes stressful environments. And whereas service dogs have demonstrated their invaluable contributions in various fields, such as guiding individuals with visual impairment, alerting individuals with diabetes to rapid shifts in their blood glucose, alerting people with hearing impairments to important sounds, assisting those with physical disabilities in everyday tasks, offering support to individuals with psychiatric conditions, and aiding veterans and first responders in their post-traumatic stress recovery. And whereas these incredible animals not only provide practical assistance, but offer unconditional love, companionship, and emotional support, improving the overall well-being and mental health of their handlers. And whereas Service Dog Awareness Month provides an opportunity to recognize and appreciate the dedication, hard work, and incredible impact of service dogs, as well as their trainers, organizations, and individuals who contribute to their training, care, and support. Now therefore be it proclaimed on this 24th day of September 2024 by Pierce County Council that September 2024 is recognized as Service Dog Awareness Month in Pierce County, Washington, and community members, organizations, businesses, and schools are encouraged to celebrate the extraordinary contributions of service dogs.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing us a few minutes to speak on behalf of Katie. On December 2nd, 2020, Katie was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic. Her once functioning body had turned against her and destroyed both her beta cells, which produce insulin, and her alpha cells, which produce glucagon. Her journey has not been easy, and she's faced it all very bravely. She volunteered for the PROTECT study, which helped teplizumab earn FDA clearance as the first disease-modifying drug to delay the onset of type 1. Last fall, she started something called the Diabetic Duck campaign to help spread awareness in our local neighborhood and schools about the signs of undiagnosed type 1 and also what it's like to live as a child with type 1. Katie struggles with something called hypoglycemia unawareness. This leaves her unaware of her symptoms of low blood sugar that would normally warn a person that they need to treat. Their brain and their other organs are being starved of glucose, which are necessary for survival. Unfortunately, her body does not respond to these, and her blood sugar will drop critically low, which then puts her at risk for seizure, loss of consciousness, and even death. This past spring, on her way to 6th grade camp, her blood sugar dropped to a critical level, causing her to lose consciousness and seize. I had to administer her medication on the side of the road and wait for paramedics to arrive. The very first words she said when she came to was, "If I had had my dog already, I wouldn't have gone low." She wears a continuous glucose monitor, which is called a CGM, but these tools are not 100% accurate, and they are delayed by over 15 minutes. They help add a layer of safety to her everyday life, but the amazing nose of a diabetic alert dog that is trained to alert her to a dropping blood sugar 30 minutes before it actually happens is what will be life-changing. They do this through their amazing olfactory receptors that smell the chemical isoprene. Many dads, as they're affectionately called, are trained to retrieve items as well, such as the glucose meter, juice, and even get help when she needs it. Our family has gone through classes to learn about service dogs, the science behind them, as well as the laws that protect them, as well as Katie's rights and responsibilities. Chronic illnesses go hand in hand with increased risk of depression, anxiety, and mental health disease. Type 1 has been both physically and emotionally draining, but the great part about a service dog is that it helps to ease some of those issues. We know that service dogs serve many different purposes. Another one close to our hearts is among the veteran population, which I know Matthew is going to be here today to speak on. But we want to thank Pierce County and specifically Councilman Morrell for acknowledging and celebrating Service Dog Awareness Month with us and helping to ensure that Pierce County is a place where individuals of all abilities and needs can feel welcomed in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. It's a really powerful story. And Katie, you're incredibly brave. Thanks for letting us hear your story. Are there remarks by other council members? Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for being here today. Thank you for bringing this up. There's many different types of service dogs, and this is a great example of that. People have maybe a misconception of what a service dog is. It might be just veterans or something like that, but it's much, much more. And service dogs have been serving mankind they signed a contract tens of thousands of years ago with tribes and bands all across the world. There's not a community in the world that somehow doesn't have a dog assist them in some way, and we're doing that still today. I mean, it's amazing what dogs can do, and they just seem like with their unconditional love, the way they want to serve is just amazing, and reducing stress and helping people with mobility issues, and there's just so many things that they can do to help. So nothing new. Dogs are amazing, and thank you for being here today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that you are raising awareness around this. There's a lot of misconceptions around pets being pets, right? And this will be a working dog that has the capability of saving your life. And for parents, that level of assuranceness that low batteries doesn't mean something horribly went wrong. It just means we have an animal now that's going to be the emergency backup and be more effective. So really appreciate you raising awareness on that. And I'm wondering, does the dog have a name? Like, have you picked a name?
So we actually don't get to pick the name. They come with names as they're being trained. So.
Okay. Well, there we go. You'll have to send us an update through Councilmember Morrell. And thank you for being here. Thank you, Chair.
We do expect a photo. Councilmember Morrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also want to thank Katie for bringing this forward and informing us, because I had no idea that a dog can actually smell and understand glucose levels in someone. It's amazing. And as parents, we want our kids to thrive and enjoy life and not always be worried about the what ifs out there. So I would just like, I don't know if Mom wants to explain or if Katie can explain, how did you find an organization that could do this with a dog?
Okay. So Katie actually found, when she was first diagnosed, she was looking up other kids like her on YouTube because she didn't know any diabetics. And there was a little girl that had a diabetic alert dog. So she started researching it. And it is very hard to find an actual trained service dog. So we went through Service Dog International accreditation to find a reputable source. So we started this process in North Carolina, and we're ending it out here. So
you're a military family.
yes.
And how long does it take to train a dog like this?
So the dog itself takes well over a year to train. The whole process and the wait list is so long, it's been a 4-year process. So it is very, very lengthy, but I would say well worth it.
Okay. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Morell. I'm really pleased that Councilman Morell decided to bring this forward and lift up the magic of service dogs. Hearing your personal story about how a dog can literally keep people's insulin levels in check and support folks of all ages to be healthy is just remarkable. It's astounding, right? And the other uses of service dogs, from helping to identify missing people to identifying illicit drugs, and just what their capabilities are mind-blowing. They really are superhuman creatures, and they're just beautiful, and they help make our world just so much safer and so much better.
Great.
Thanks for letting us use your story to lift this up. We're very proud of you, and you'll be seeing us do a lot of communication to lift up the superpowers of service dogs. So Katie, Jenny, and Eric, if you can come up here, we would love to present you with this proclamation.
All right, here we go. Go Army. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let me get a couple more here. All right, thank you.
We have to do this resolution really quick. Right. Yeah, here it is.
Katie, we definitely look forward to that update. You know how to reach Councilor Morell, so we'll look for the stories and the video and the photos when you send that to Councilor Morell's office.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Take care.
We have. We've moved Resolution 2024-208 to our regular agenda under resolutions. Councilmember Morell for a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to adopt proposal number R 2024-208 with the withdrawal of appointee Patricia Kilpatrick.
Second.
Ms. Long, do I need to have this read into the record?
Yes, please.
Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
Proposal number R 2024-208, A resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of 2 new members to the Commission on Refugee and Immigrant Affairs.
Thank you. Ms. Long, I'm going to ask you to introduce this item.
Thank you. So this is a resolution making 2 appointments to the Commission on Refugee and Immigrant Affairs. On September 20th, the executive did submit to you a request in writing to withdraw Ms. Kilpatrick from consideration. You'll see that in your packets there. The county code does provide that in the event the executive wishes to withdraw an appointment that he has made to you, prior to your final action, he may do so by submitting a written request, and then at that point, the council has the choice to either allow the withdrawal or to proceed to confirm or reject that appointment. So because this is a resolution containing 2 different appointments, that's hence the 2-part motion there. So the motion has been made and seconded to approve the resolution. So that would, with the withdrawal, so that would result in the appointment of, or confirming the appointment of Andre Tokar to the Commission on Refugee and Immigrant Affairs. And this was all to comply with the majority requirement that's set forth in Chapter 2105 of the code.
Which, and that chapter of the code that you are referencing, Ms. Long, states that there must be a majority of the membership of the Commission on Refugee and Immigrant Affairs. A majority of the members must be immigrants or refugees themselves.
That's correct.
And so really grateful for Patricia Kilpatrick's willingness to serve, by all accounts, incredibly capable community member, very eager to serve, happens to not be a refugee or immigrant herself. And therefore, with her participation, it would not allow us to have a majority of the members on this commission be immigrants or refugees. So that is why the request to withdraw, but I'm certain we will find many other uses for Ms. Kilpatrick's many talents in our community. We don't have Andre Tokar here, right, Mr. Dominique? Okay, we do have the benefit of their application and written materials in our electronic packet. Do any members have any questions or comments before we open up for a public hearing? Don't see any. This is a public hearing on the 1 appointment to the Commission on Refugee and Immigrant Affairs. There's no members of the public here in council chambers. Mr. Dominique, anybody in our Zoom room to give comment here?
For any member of the public that would like to provide comment on proposal number R 2024-208, please press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. There are no hands at this time, Chair.
With no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there any final remarks by council members? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Denson. Aye. Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. We're at Section 9, Ordinances. We have Proposal O 2024-546 before us. Vice Chair Campbell, for a motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I move proposal number O 2024-546.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt Ordinance 2024-546. Madam Clerk, please read the title.
Proposal number O 2024-546, an ordinance of the Pierce County Council establishing a prohibition on the use of compression brakes along Waller Road East in the Mid-County Community Plan area and Creviston Drive Northwest in the Key Peninsula Community Plan area, and requesting the county engineer to post signage as appropriate.
Thank you. Mr. Swanson to brief the council.
Thank you, Chair Mello and members of the council. Before you this afternoon is proposed ordinance number O 2024-546, which would restrict the use of compression braking systems on both a segment of Waller Road in District 5 and on Creviston Drive in District 7. Maps for both the locations are actually included. They're Exhibit A and Exhibit B, which are on pages 39 and 40 of your packet. Compression braking systems are also known as Jake brakes. They're used by trucks typically weighing more than 10,000 pounds, especially on downhill slopes, as they help control speed and reduce the wear and tear on actual brake pads and discs. However, the loud noises of these brakes are often disturbing, especially in residential neighborhoods. To mitigate this impact, state law does require vehicles equipped with compression braking systems use operational mufflers and exhaust systems. That does help reduce the level of the noise, but it does not eliminate the level of the noise. The state law does also authorize local jurisdictions to have the authority to implement more restrictive regulations. Pierce County Code 10.20.010 specifically restricts the use of compression brake systems on certain county roadways where a sign prohibiting the usage is present. So that is how Pierce County has gone about implementing that more restrictive standard that's allowed under state law. If approved, this proposal would direct Planning and Public Works staff to place such signage on, again, those roadway segments that are shown in Exhibit A and Exhibit B. A public hearing was held in the Economic and Infrastructure Development Committee on September 24th. Following up on that discussion, I did reach out to the Sheriff's Office as some questions came up about how common violations of the chapter are. I did verify with the Sheriff's Office that no citations have been issued on the dozen or so segments we already have in roadway segments in Pierce County that already have signs posted. In the last year plus, there haven't been any violations issued under this code section. And again, we did also confirm with the Sheriff's Office anecdotally, the trucking industry tends to be very voluntarily compliant with these signs, and when the signs go up, there doesn't seem to be an issue with trucks complying. With that, there's also an equity analysis has been completed, as well as a fiscal note. Both are in your packet. The fiscal note does show no or de minimis fiscal impact, as the cost of the signage would be built into pre-existing funds that would go in. With that, again, those are both included in your packet. With that, Mr. Chair, we do have council staff available, myself, if there are any questions from members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson. Are there questions for Mr. Swanson before we open up for a public hearing? Councilmember Denson.
Yes, Mr. Swanson, you may not know the answer to this, but I know I'll get asked. How long do you think it would be if this is passed today before Planning and Public Works installs those signs? Just curious.
I didn't get a timeline from, I was able to speak with Ms. Grice, well, I should message on our teams. I didn't speak with her, but that's the, so I was in communications with traffic engineering. I didn't get a timeline on it, but it is in existing funds. I mean, they have work orders that go out. I can chase that down and see kind of when specifically that would take, but there would be a timeline. The signs, we do have a sign shop that makes the signs. They're not currently stockpiled. But there would be a time for a work order to go in, and it would take time for them to go and get those out. So it won't be immediately upon the effective date of the ordinance. But I'll communicate with the department and see if we can get a more accurate window than sometime in the not too distant future.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Swanson, as far as violations go, how are violations processed? I mean, if I hear a Jake brake or a compression brake, I can notify law enforcement, but all they could do is give a warning, right? To write a ticket, do they have to be there and witness it?
They would, much as speeding. It's any other violation. It's a $250 fine under the Pierce County Code. Under the state statute, if it's a violation on a state highway
if it's a violation of not being properly muffled or not having the required equipment under state law, there's a different set of fines that starts at $250 and escalates up per offense, going up to $750 after a third offense. It's $250 per offense in Pierce County Code, and yes, it's like running a red light or anything. The deputy would have to witness the violation occur, and then they would write a ticket for it. And then they would follow the same process any other ticket does. But again, as we did confirm with the we confirmed with the sheriff's office, we don't actually have examples of these tickets being written due to the level of voluntary compliance.
Okay, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, Mr. Swanson, but I'll ask it anyway. If the use of a compression brake is a last resort for a truck, is that going to be a violation?
That is a good question. I'll call the sheriff's office and ask that again, as we don't have a lot of examples of violations. But yeah, if the choice is use the compression brake or plow through the intersection going downhill, yeah, that's it. It isn't written into the code. There is no exemption to that written in the code section. I'll put it that way. Now, how a deputy would choose to enforce that under the code, would be to officer discretion. But no, there is no specific exemption to that written in Pierce County Code.
Okay, because I know that usually they use it on hills to assist in the overheating of brakes. I know that, and Councilmember Campbell knows this, at the end of Waller and Pioneer, truck driver lost his brakes and ended up plowing into the building down there, and he unfortunately died. But if he may have had a Jake brake on there, I mean, he could have at least slowed down dramatically. So I'm just throwing that out there, but like you say, most truck drivers will use it as a last resort, but I understand the noise aspect of it also in a residential area. So thank you.
Thanks for those questions. Any other questions? Not seeing any. This is a public hearing on ordinance 2024-546. There remains no members of the public here in chambers. Mr. Dominique, anybody in our Zoom room?
For any member of the public that would like to provide comment on proposal number O 2024-546, please press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there any final remarks by council members? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2024-546?
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the ordinance is adopted. That's our business for the day. We are at Community Forum, Section 10. Community Forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any topic that is of significance to or affecting Pierce County government and that did not appear for final action on today's agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit. Please state your name if you would like it on the record, and we ask that you address all your comments to the chair. There's no one here from the public in council chambers. Mr. Dominique, anybody in the Zoom room wishing to participate in Community Forum?
For any member of the public that would like to participate in Community Forum this evening, please press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. There are no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the Community Forum portion of our meeting. We're at Section 11, Other Business and Announcements. Is there any other business or announcements by council members? Councilmember Denson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Quickly, I wanted to let everyone know that this weekend is the famous Key Peninsula Farm Tour. It's been going on for probably close to 20 years because I remember taking my kids when they were little. So it's Saturday and Sunday. Farms participating on both days are sometimes different, but you can just Google Key Peninsula Farm Tour and find the schedule. There's shuttle buses running. There's everything from goats and sheep to lavender farms and flowers and all sorts of things. So it's a really special community activity, and you are welcome to come out and join us.
Thank you, Councilor Denson. Any other business or announcements by other members? Well, I'll just make an announcement. We want folks to be aware that there are what the local media is calling the monster weekend of road closures. So folks very well may want to mark their calendars because you do not want to get stuck in this. So please be aware that Interstate 5 through Fife will be closed in both directions, all lanes in both directions. Again, that's Interstate 5 through Fife, both directions, all lanes closed overnight, beginning Friday, September 27th, and Saturday, September 28th. It's just overnight. They'll be back open during the day, but overnight, Friday, September 27th, and Saturday, September 28th, as the Washington State Department of Transportation constructs a new bridge over Interstate 5 in Fife. This closure will continue the following 3 weekends, overnight on Friday and overnight on Saturday through October 18th. Please keep this closure in mind when traveling through the area, and I highly recommend you put it in your calendar so you don't get stuck in it and you make other plans. Vice Chair Campbell.
I mean, I've driven through that curb. I don't know if it'll take much longer if it's closed or open.
Sounds like a nightmare. True. During rush hour, it's kind of the same. Ms. Long, any other business for council this evening?
Nothing today, thank you.
With no other business before the Pierce County Council, we are adjourned.